Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason, and that's for a brand new episode of the Major Issues podcast brought to you by Comicbook Clique. And as you know, I'm never here alone. Sir, introduce yourself.
Dun-dun-dun. I am Cloudus Maximus, son of Cloud.
That was deep.
Wow.
Cloudus Maximus, son of Cloud. You hear that? Cloudus Maximus is joining me here for a very special episode of the Major Issues podcast. We're going to do a full recap and review of 2017's As Guardians of the Galaxy. Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I like As Guardians of the Galaxy though. That works. Thor Ragnarok just came out on Blu-ray. Like literally just came out on Blu-ray, and people have all kinds of opinions. They say it is the best Thor movie. It is the worst Thor movie. It's definitely the most different Thor movie.
What?
Yeah. Oh, we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. But people definitely have some strong opinions about this. But before we get into our full recap and review of Thor Ragnarok, I thought it'd be cool if we took some time to just talk about Thor the character. What's your history with Thor, the Asgardian, the god of
Odin's
thunder,
son,
the Lord of Hammers?
the Lord of Hammers.
Yes.
There's still more.
Is he your favorite Avenger?
No, but he's up there though. I've never.
Is he your least favorite Avenger?
No.
No, he's in the middle. He sits between the 2 and 3.
He's
kinda?
very well liked. He's
Okay.
very well liked amongst.
Right.
So, I do. Well, I'm gonna keep it from the comics. I like everything that he's got going on.
Right.
Besides the hammer, cause
These last 5 years, they've been doing some really cool things with Thor in general, right? With the whole Jane Foster stuff, the Unworthy stuff.
kind of miss her.
Jane Foster?
Yeah, I find myself missing her just a little bit.
Jane Foster being the woman that Natalie Portman plays in both Thor and Thor: The Dark World. That character, spoiler alert, eventually becomes Thor in the comics. She is stricken with cancer, and only through Mjolnir is she able to fully heal and be Thor and take over the power of Thor. I mean, it says whoever holds the hammer shall wield the power of Thor. And so, yeah, she does that there. Do you think Natalie Portman was ever told that she would eventually be this, or do you think they ever had it in the cards for that? No.
So. If that's something, I bring it to her like the day before it's supposed to happen. Like, hey, listen.
Because I mean, it's an interesting question.
Can't
because
take no chances.
Billy D. Williams signs up for Batman, the first Batman. He signs up as Harvey Dent. When you're signing up as Harvey Dent, you're kind of sort of signing up as Two-Face too, right? So I wonder if Jane Foster had any clue that she might eventually be Thor or eventually get a bigger role in those movies. But I think that they've done a lot of cool things now in the comics to make him relevant, and not only relevant, but the way that Thor stories are told are kind of very old-timey. Even the font that is used specifically for his stuff is kind of like that, like legendary
medieval,
font. Medieval sort of writing this, because he's a Norse god. The god himself, Thor, is not something that Marvel owns. It'd be like doing Hercules, the Marvel character. Which they do. They have a Hercules.
They do have Hercules, yeah.
So, or the same way they did Ares in DC. DC did Ares, and Zeus and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean that Marvel can't do. Like these properties are everywhere. So there's even a Thor in DC, because there are.
And he's an Avenger.
Well, you got the property of Thor, Odin, all these guys, and we get introduced to them in about 2000. I want to say 2011, right before Avengers came out with Thor 1. This was a younger Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth playing Thor, Anthony Hopkins as Odin, Tom Hiddleston as Loki. How do you feel about the first Thor?
My favorite part in Thor is when he gets casted out.
The first Thor?
Yeah.
The first Thor does a lot to show him in a very cocky demeanor. He's the son of the most powerful person.
Odin's son.
Of all the realms.
Cocky Odin's son.
Odin basically controls and governs all the realms, and his son, the Simba, theoretically in this situation, the person that will be getting the rest of the kingdom once Odin is gone. Thor not only is ready to be king, but kind of like it's like hurry on with it. Like,
Let's get
come on.
Come on. Man.
Thor 1 starts off with that
Yeah.
kind of coronation of him becoming king, and it doesn't end up happening because of Loki and the Bifrost, and Loki and the Frost Giants, Loki being only half of Odin's son. So the majority of the first Thor is Thor being banished from Asgard after trying to start a war, basically, right? He got upset that the Frost Giants showed up on Asgard. He went to where the Frost Giants lived in Jotunheim or whatever, went to go attack those people. Odin got upset, cast him to Earth, through Mjolnir.
Stripped him of his relics.
Yeah, you will be stripped of the Black Panther. Strength of the Black Panther. They stripped him of all the powers of Thor and sent him to Earth. And for the most part, Thor 1 is this fish out of water, right? Like very much what Wonder Woman is. Like, this person doesn't belong here. Like, the crazy things that they do when they bring their traditions to normal time. Then we had Thor: Dark World, which deals a lot more with the Dark Elves. It deals with an actual Infinity Stone. You have the Ether with the Infinity Storm. You got Malekith. Did you like 2 better than 1? Were you a bigger fan of Dark World? I mean, at this point, we got Winter Soldier. We got Avengers 2. Like, this is a way bigger opening for the character of Thor in this one.
I fight sometimes with both of them.
With Thor 2?
Yeah, but I find myself liking, I think, Thor, because I'm a big fan of the Destroyer in Thor 1. So
I actually like the fight with Malekith. I think more.
No, I like it too, but
that's the one with the portals.
Yeah.
Where
when they're just
fighting through portals, ending up in different realms.
That's crazy.
I thought that was really cool. Yeah. Thor 1 I had no problem with. It's probably not the movie that I pick out of the shelf to just throw on, but whenever it is on, I'm not having a bad time watching it. Same thing with Thor 2. I think I like Thor 2 a little bit more because we were allowed to kind of like Loki.
Yeah, he was already over, I guess.
Well, at this point, this is the guy arrested for the crimes. I mean, part 2 continues right after Avengers, so he's locked up for trying to basically open a wormhole and destroy Manhattan, and now he has to go and pay for his crimes, and it's the death of his mother, of Thor's mother, happens in that film. And it changes both brothers. This is the first time we get to see them on the same page.
Together and stuff like that throughout the whole movie.
They're on the same page, and Thor is still able to save the world and goes forth to back to Asgard. Well, no, actually, he goes to Avengers. And that's when he starts having the vision of the Infinity Stones. Something's going on.
Listen,
there's a danger coming.
Yeah, I gotta go check some stuff out.
And he did. That's how he ends in Avengers 2. He's like, I gotta go. Sorry. Had a dream when I was in my bathtub, and it was some stuff was getting crazy. I have to tend to that now. And he takes off. Meanwhile, as we have seen at the end of Thor 2, Loki has taken the spot of Odin. Loki, who faked his own death, is now sitting on the throne as Odin at the end of Thor 2. And then
staff and all.
And then they did a crazy thing. They gave us Civil War. They gave us Homecoming, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. They gave us everything, and no one would tell us where Thor was.
Nope.
Where is Thor? We spent like 2 years watching.
And they asked too.
And yeah,
Thunderbolt
Ross is like, can you tell us where Thor the Hulk are? Those are basically 2 nukes. And if I didn't know where 2 nukes were, I sure would be getting in trouble for it. But did you, when this happened, when Thor was gone from this equation, were you looking for him? Were you curious? Were you excited about? Because we knew this was Thor Ragnarok was coming. We had no idea what the flavor of it would be until we started seeing the trailers. But we knew it was on its way. Did you think? Like, was it on?
Well, I thought he was looking for the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
At first, and then when we came around to it, it turns out he was trying to figure out about Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think part of the vision that he saw was the vision of Ragnarok, and I guess he just put 2 and 2 together. That I guess the Infinity Stones have to do with Ragnarok.
Yeah, or something is about to happen.
I saw the stones. Yeah, I saw the stones.
It's about to go down.
And I know Ragnarok is gonna happen. And the thing is, that's how basically Thor Ragnarok, the movie Ragnarok, begins. Full spoiler alert, we'll be going full in depth with this film starting right now. And it starts off with Thor narrating that yes, after he left the Avengers, he went to go look for the Infinity Stones, found none, none, didn't get even close. He has no breadcrumbs, nothing. But he still believes that Ragnarok is coming, and believes that Ragnarok will be coming at the hands of Surtur, who, when he, Surtur being this big, demonic, demon, once he, it's been prophesied that once he places his crown inside the eternal flame that's on Asgard, that's in Odin's vault, that Ragnarok, or the end of Asgard, will come. Now Ragnarok has been foretold. These tales of Thor and Odin have been in books for years. These are Nordic legends. So Ragnarok is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like that's a real, it's
Armageddon.
Armageddon, apocalypse, it's all that stuff. So Thor starts off the movie telling you what he's trying to do. He's trying to prevent Armageddon, and it starts with him trying to prevent it because he thinks it's going to come at the hands of Surtur. Surtur, am I saying that? Surtur.
It's like Thanos and Thanos.
And within the first 5 minutes, we get the flavor of this movie because the jokes are right off the top, right? With him spinning on the chain and stuff, and then it breaks into one of my favorite action scenes in Thor history, where he's able to just go in there and take on Surtur's entire army, including himself.
Tossing the hammer.
I was rewatching this scene, and I was thinking to myself again, wow, like this scene is incredible. I love this action scene with Mjolnir, and I realize, spoiler alert, this is the last Mjolnir scene.
Oh no!
Right?
That's why it was so.
That's why it was so incredible. I'm sitting here. I'm like, of course they did everything they could with the hammer because it was the last time we see the hammer. Very smart. Thank you guys for that because we got to see him do things with that hammer that we've never seen before. And man, the whirlwind when he's battling against the flames, him just sending in, you getting the hammer point of view as it's smashing into all these this undead armies, just taking them all out. The most confident we've ever seen Thor, which is big because he's confident in every single movie he's been in. But this is like he knew he was gonna do this. He knew he was gonna take everybody
Ragnarok.
else. And why? You know why?
Do you know why?
I know why. I don't think you know why.
I know why.
Why?
I know why.
Why'd he do it?
You gotta stop Ragnarok.
He did it because that's what heroes do.
Wow, that's true.
That's what heroes
do. Heroes
Something that he says
do.
Multiple times in this film. Why do you think they put that in this film? You had to guess.
Because that is what heroes do, man.
But it makes
Come on.
But it does make it funnier that he's stating that this is what a hero does, right? Because heroes don't go around saying, "I'm gonna cross you across the street," because that's what a hero does. But
I'm gonna tell you,
it's almost as if he's trying to be a hero, where before, because you could be a king and not be a hero,
kick your
right?
Butt and give you a lesson in life.
Yeah, because you could be a king and not a hero. You could be a king and protect your realm and not do good things, right? Odin, as we find out in this movie, isn't 100% innocent. Odin's done some
bad things.
So you can be royalty and not be good. And so I think from before we were just seeing Son of Odin, and now we're seeing Avenger Thor, the guy who's actively trying to be a hero, actively trying to save stuff. And maybe that's why. I mean, he's trying to tell him, like, convince himself a little bit, like, I'm doing this because that's what a hero does, and I want to be a hero, and that's what heroes do. But throughout this battle, he's trying to call to Heimdall so he can get transported. We find out that Heimdall is not in where his normal sword holding place is, where he's able to open up the Bifrost Bridge. That's actually, there's a new guy in there, bald guy.
Scourge,
who has floozies. He's hanging out with like floozies, groupies,
and his stuff. Behold,
this is more stuff. And he goes, these are guns I've got from some state in Midgard called Texas. So apparently Scourge found the way to Texas, got some machine guns. He's got a bunch of stuff. He's the new Heimdall. He's finally able to get Thor back to Asgard. Thor's back to Asgard, thinking he's completely stopped Ragnarok. He's got Surtur's crown strapped to his back, and finds that, well, people have been having some good times while he's been gone. He comes back, and instead of getting almost a hero's welcome, people are distracted. They're watching a play.
Yeah, but if you notice, Heimdall sees all.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that
So
could be.
Heimdall's aware.
So he's very much aware, which is probably why he's not around too.
Yes.
So
The second movie was kind of rough on Heimdall too. I mean, remember he jumps off that thing to stop
oh
one ship.
yeah, yeah,
Like he was dealing with a
yeah,
lot,
that's
being
true.
the guy on the bridge. I think after a while he was just like, I'm not with this. And if Heimdall does see all, then maybe he's seeing the same visions that Thor's seeing, that Surtur's seeing, that everyone's seeing, that Ragnarok is coming. Because Odin, when they do speak to Odin, Odin says the same thing. Like, oh yeah, that's coming. Yeah, no, it's coming. Yeah, it's on its way. So it's crazy because Thor comes back and you see Odin hanging out, eating grapes. You see an entire scene from Thor 2 being played out. I thought it was hilarious, complete with the dramatic music and everything. And this play is basically a play created to show the legend of Loki and how Loki in Thor 2 sacrificed himself and was able to save Asgard. Complete with a brand new erected statue of Loki in the Asgard square, and Odin seems to be lapping it up. He's relaxing. This is an Odin we've never seen before. Odin, quote unquote Odin. It doesn't take long though for Thor to realize that Odin is not who he says he is.
He is a farce.
And he soon begins to believe that Odin might actually be his brother Loki. And I thought it was so cool the way he got him to transform back, where he grabs him by the back of the head and says that the hammer, he throws his hammer first, then he grabs him by the back of the head and says, that hammer is going to come to this hand regardless of what's in the way of it. And as soon as the hammer comes close enough to do any real damage, Loki transforms back into himself. And it's like, hey, brother,
that'd be messy.
I'm sorry that, and basically it's just like, my bad. Like, he's like, where's our father? Where's Odin? And, around this time, there were some smatterings when this movie was being made that they had filmed Odin in New York as a hobo.
Wow.
So this whole time I'm like, oh, we're about to go to New York. We're about to see him,
Has Odin some change.
We're about to give him a swipe on the, swipe. You got to swipe. Give him some money for his basketball team or something. But Odin is not a homeless man in New York, but they do go to New York, which is, I believe, where Loki said he left him. He's like,
oh my god.
He's like, no, he's supposed to be here. And while they're there, not knowing where to even start looking for Odin, because now Loki says he's not where he left him, a sling portal, would you call it?
Yes.
Sling portal opens up.
Very strange one.
A very strange portal opens up. Loki falls through it, and a card appears stating the way to the Sanctum Sanctorum, the home of Stephen Strange, who basically is able to tell Thor where Odin is and lead Thor and Loki to Odin with the promise that they both leave Earth. Please don't come back to Earth. I ask you, do you think that's gonna come back to Strange with the way that this movie ends, and with what we've seen now in the trailers, right? This has got to be something. Like, bro, I told you guys to go. I knew something bad was gonna happen with you guys here.
And
you left.
You came back.
And then you came
with
back
with more people.
And you
with the Asgard.
More purple people. You brought more purple people here. This is ridiculous. This is a more poised Stephen Strange. He's got the gloves. He's
definitely been around for a while.
He's speaking from a place of like he knows.
Yep.
And he's basically threatening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thor and Loki, like, you guys need to get out of here. To the point that, and I thought that this was a very good point too. Loki falls through the portal. He's falling for 20 minutes. That's what he says. Eventually, the portal opens up in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Loki falls through. But Loki is a master of magic himself.
Mm-hmm.
To be out magicked by Stephen Strange
okay.
says a lot for Stephen Strange, and I think that's they should be constantly doing that. Constantly reminding us that although magic is in this realm, there's only one guy. There's only one guy that got this, and it's Stephen Strange. But they end up having a heart-to-heart with their father, Odin, who is rocking a stylish non-gold eye patch. It's like a off-white kind of deal. He's wearing like chill clothes.
His retirement patch.
Yeah, he's wearing his retirement pants too.
AARP.
He's walking around just chilling, and basically well, they locate him, and it's all like, all right, Dad, let's go back home. And Odin's like, oh, I'm not going home. Not only am I not going home, I'm dying. And when I die, matter of fact, you guys got some time. I got to tell a story to
Right.
tell you guys.
I would put you on.
By the way, you have a sister. She helped me gain Asgard through bloodshed and murder. Once I got Asgard, I realized that she might be way too powerful, so I locked her away with the idea that, well, she'll only come back if I die. And by the way, did I mention I'm dying? so, so the brothers are like, what the heck? We have a what? We have a sister? And look, he just basically, we saw it in the Honest trailer. He does like he Jedi's. He becomes one with the
golden dust,
the Odin Force. He becomes one with the Odin Force, disappears, which then brings on Hela. And Hela, now that I look at it, enters the scene very much like Thanos did in the trailer, like this void opening up, her walking out, and then just closing up behind her. And our introduction to Hela also is very it lets us know that this is also not a Thor movie that like we've seen before, because she starts off already off the top with like, I am Thor, son of Odin. Really? You don't look like him. She already starts with the jokes,
and that's what I noticed right off the bat. I was like, why does everybody like look like they're in the family, but freaking Thor?
Thor, yeah.
Neil.
And then she acts. Not only does she acts two gods to Neil, she acts the one guy who acts the people.
Yeah,
to
Neil.
Like,
what? What? You what, mate?
That's Loki's thing. Loki in Avengers 1, and all these Marvel movies do callbacks, and it's so rewarding if you've seen all these films when they call back to these things. But yeah, like the audacity to act the guy who acts to Neil, and he doesn't. He doesn't, and in a real cool moment, both are able to like call upon their powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thor slams his umbrella against the ground, and Loki does something, and lightning strikes, and now they're fully in their Asgardian armor. They're ready for battle. Thor does the one thing he always does, which is throw his hammer. He's like, I got this. I throw the hammer, and I win. That's what happens. Throws the hammer. Hela grabs it by the head and smashes it. You saw this moment in the trailer, even though there was a very different background in the trailer. But the end of Mjolnir. Do you want to say some words on behalf of Mjolnir?
R.I.P. We were in some good fights. We protected the planet of Earth, a.k.a. Midgard. You know?
Did. Stopped Malekith. You stopped Loki. Stopped Ultron. Gave birth to Vision.
It'll always be too soon.
Oh my God, Vision lost his father.
Oh, no!
Mjolnir helped create Vision. Damn. Oh, what a hammer. What a hammer. But the hammer is gone. And so the guys are like, okay, we're leaving here. Try to go on the Bifrost Bridge. Hela's able to knock both brothers off the Bifrost Bridge, first knocking Loki off. Now, the idea is that once you're knocked off this bridge, you just float through space and die. Like, she thinks these guys are dead. But Thor ends up landing on Sakaar, and he has no idea where his brother's at. And for some time, we go back with Hela. We see Hela go to Asgard, and basically, does the regular villain monologue. I'm going to take this place over, yada, yada, yada. Who's here to stop me? The Warriors 3 show up, minus Sif.
And get decimated.
And then the armies of Asgard show up. We will not, kneel to yada yada. And she just murders. She has the power of throwing knives. And what she does
is
throw them. And never once looking to see if they hit. They always hit. Never once like having to reload. She always has one. She is just a machine of death. And she's able to take over Asgard almost by herself. She uses Scourge as kind of a lackey.
The only lackey.
And we already knew the Scourge was kind of a piece of crap because he wasn't helping Thor get to the Bifrost Bridge. But now he's definitely a piece of crap because all his brothers and sisters are dead. And, he's just going to,
come on, Scourge.
Sweet talk old Hela there. But, at this point, we saw suicide bombers in Thor 2, right? nothing happens to Asgard in Thor 1. The Bifrost Bridge is destroyed because Thor
he was fighting Loki.
Yeah, that's all that happens to Asgard. Majority of the stuff happens on Midgard. In the second movie, you get the suicide ships where they just crash into the palace.
Oh yeah, okay. When they come through,
not really meant to take over the entire realm, just meant to do some serious damage, and it does. They eventually end up killing Thor's mother. Stupid Malekith. And now, actual damage with millions and millions of Asgardians killed. I kind of wish they would have showed Asgardians winning before they showed them killed. It's almost the idea of you see the Amazonians do some crazy stuff in Wonder Woman, so then when you see them getting taken out by Steppenwolf, you're like,
we didn't see the Asgardians get busy.
Yeah, so it's like
Loki
we've only
Thor.
seen the Asgardians. So it's kind of like, all right, so you guys are just like foot soldiers, and they all got taken out. When in reality, one regular, normal Asgardian could probably take out the Avengers. But they don't really get that because it's God against God, Hela, the goddess of death. How do you feel about the rumors or gossip that she might be the actual mistress Death? Do you think it works? Do you think you could just slide her in?
I heard about that. They got to do it. It's got to be right.
Yes. Because Death herself, Mistress Death doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Or speaks very rarely. Whereas this one she's telling jokes. She's cocky.
Jokes, she's killing people.
Killing a lot of people. The way she killed the Warriors 3, she just throws those knives.
Goddess of Death.
The Goddess of Death. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see more of her. So if she does end up showing up as Death, I wonder how you do. It's the same way I ask, like, how you do a Venom movie without Spider-Man. Can you really do the Infinity Gauntlet without Death? Like without him constantly trying to.
Unless she's really there.
Because I feel like if they don't do it without Death, it'll just be the villain just trying to be the villain, right? Like, no, I need to conquer more, and then he just fails because he's just trying to do too much. Where I like the love obsession thing a little bit more, but Marvel they rarely don't stick the landing, so we'll see. Yes, we will see what happens. Thor crash lands on Sakaar, a garbage planet surrounded by wormholes, including the biggest wormhole, which is called the Devil's Anus.
That's right.
He sees a bunch of trash people, kind of like Star Wars almost, when the robots see a bunch of the trash collectors, scavengers, and stuff like that. They all try to, use him for food or just kidnap him. When Valkyrie shows up drunk and it's able to capture Thor using one of those little obedient discs, those electronic discs, and Thor wakes up to a, what do you want to call this, a tutorial? He wakes up in a chair, strapped to a chair, where he gets a full video introduction to Sakaar, which is the planet that he's at, the Grand Master, which is the person he now belongs to, and the fact that everyone captured and brought to the Grand Master is basically they fight as gladiators.
The Grand Goldblum.
Yes, the Grand Goldblum. They fight as gladiators to appease the Grand Master. In what he calls the contest of champions, and in full Disney, mode, they play, Willy Wonka music in the background, and they do a lot of alludes to, Willy Wonka and just the childlike nature of Thor is going through this tour, even though it's saying like, and you will die, and the fights are all to the death, and like it's all this like funny stuff because of the way that they're saying it, and you meet the Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum, hilarious. Thor is there. Thor turns to the side, and guess who happens to be there too? Loki, chilling, hanging out. How long do you think Loki was on?
I don't know.
on this planet? Like, cause he seems to be like in with the people.
In. So
to the point that he's watching the contest of champions with the Grandmaster.
I mean,
when
he
that fight
is
happens.
the god of mischief, so
he
can kind of be in anywhere.
This is true. Loki doing a little bit more of the blue because Hela's doing a little bit more of the green.
Mm-hmm.
They have Loki in like this blue, cool like little blue outfit and stuff.
Blue green.
But Loki basically says like, I can't tell them that we're related. We tell we let any of this stuff out, and they haggle over the price of Thor. I think it ends up being like 10 million units or something crazy like that. And Valkyrie takes the bounty, and then they ask him what his name, and he says, "I am Thor, the God of Thunder." He's like, "Oh, Lord of Thunder, Lord of Thunder." And for the rest of the movie, they stay on that joke that he is the Lord of Thunder. But Thor is able to sit and not compete, but be introduced to the other members of the Contest of Champions, including one of your favorite members, Korg.
Hey, man.
Korg, played by Taika Waititi, the director of this film.
Hey, man.
Who's from New Zealand. That's a New Zealand accent you hear on Korg. Hilarious. And supposedly 90% of Korg's lines were ad-libbed by the director himself.
Nice, man.
So he was able to add a nice layer of foreign comedy to this film. I guess now will be the point where I ask, do you think this film had too much comedy in it?
No, man. I really liked it.
You really liked
That's why I came. Yeah, man.
Yeah. It was definitely different than the rest of the films.
Yeah, it was funnier than all. I think it was 50-50. I think it was just more of everything, dude.
Part of it, I have some issue with it, but it's not the argument that he can't be funny. I'm with that 100%. I think there's just some moments where they should have let the seriousness rock for a little bit longer, like some stuff with the Hulk and some of the stuff with Hela. I think she should be making less jokes. But the thing is, you don't want it to get. We've seen what happens when it's just vanilla. Like without the jokes, there's very little separating Hela from Steppenwolf, right? Like, I am a conqueror of conquerors, and I'm here to conquer, and I will kill you all because I can, and I've always been the strongest.
I mean, I liked her better than Steppenwolf.
But do you think that's because of the jokes, or do you think it's because of CGI? Because that's also a level of it. When the person is just made up to be some kind of silver.
The jokes added a nice little thing to it, but
layer.
She had pizzazz for the camera, you know.
Okay.
Steppenwolf was like,
so
he was basically vanilla. Yeah, like
Kate Blanchett's been in a bunch of movies.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You know, like
she was confident in the role. She acted like a god. She acted like someone who was all powerful. And you know that happens. It's almost like when we see Vincent D'Onofrio playing Wilson Fisk. At a certain point, you're like, damn, he's kind of like made for this because he's able to bring that confidence that if you don't have, you can't fake.
You gotta bring it out.
And you can't fake it. You can't fake that confidence, or else it's very, very obvious. Like, for instance, look at Hela compared to Enchantress. Enchantress. But, you know, you can't fake confidence. You can't fake confidence. Thor is being told by Korg, oh, don't worry, Grandmaster has his own champion. That's probably who you're going to fight. They usually got the guys to fight the Grand Champion. The Grandmaster's Grand Champion. Thor gets a nice little haircut, courtesy of my main man, Stan Lee. Stan, love you, man. How'd you feel about the Thor cut? We saw it in the trailer. Are you a fan?
I am a fan.
Very reminiscent.
I thought he was going to lose it in battle or something, but it's cool.
Did you say lose his hair in battle?
In battle. I don't know. He's an Asgardian. He's reckless.
Like he dodges a sword hit.
I don't know, probably.
That would be awesome. Could you imagine that?
They got to spend all that money.
Thor, your hair. I know.
I know.
I had to amputate it.
I wasn't expecting them to put him on the chair and then actually have him cut it.
Yeah, but cool. He does.
Yeah.
But gets the haircut, little face paint, you know, a brand new Thor helmet with no Mjolnir. He definitely looks out of place. Has a little conversation with Korg about it, like, yeah, I'm kind of used to having a hammer. And having to explain that the hammer helps him fly was a whole little joke there.
The hammer took you off? Oh, no, man.
Wait, so you put the hammer on your back. So you go on the hammer's back. What? Hilarious. But Thor's ready. I'm already. I'm stuck here. I'm a gladiator.
Where is your champion?
Yeah, I will be fighting your grand champion. So where is your champion? Where's your champion? Where's your champion? And he gets introduced to the grand champion, an incredible champion, the Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner shows up, blasting through in a scene you've seen in the trailer, and Thor, delighted, so happy. That's a friend from work. Now, when I first saw it, obviously I laughed, right? The whole, like, oh, he's a friend from work and all that kind of stuff, because all that stuff was really, really funny. But, to be honest, like, that had to have been the last person he expected.
That's why he's so happy.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's in a position right now where he's not home. His main weapon is gone. He is captured. And he literally sees a friend from work that he would never see.
He probably saw Hulk and then saw everything else afterwards. Like, he had the foresight to foresee everything.
Yeah, he saw the Ultron battle. He's like, I know this guy. This guy's Bruce Banner. Yada yada. Like, he's not even thinking of a fight right now.
So he just wanted to get there. So let's go.
And
yes.
Loki is also extremely shocked about this because he had no idea that this was going to be the Hulk. And Loki and the Hulk
maybe a little pee in his pants, Loki.
And it doesn't help that Loki and the Hulk have a bit of history. Puny God. But you have Thor. He defends himself. Hulk comes right at him. Thor is able to defend himself, and in another funny moment, another callback to Avengers, is trying to calm him down, and the Black Widow, like, sun's getting low, guy. Calm down there. Did you think this was gonna work?
No, hell no.
No?
I thought it was after a while. I thought it was. And then they got me. I gave up last
I think it was
minute.
that smile. I think Thor's smile, who seemed too happy with that. And just like Loki, he grabs him up and smashes him several times to Loki's delight.
The other brother got it now.
Loki is ecstatic. See, yeah, that's how it feels. It's so funny, so funny. And Thor seemingly is, has his hands full. This is something he's not going to get past. Hulk
so
is.
He knows he's got to fight.
And he does. And we get to see why people say Hulk, or Thor would at least give Hulk a run for his money. He's dodging shots. He's doing these jumps. He's doing these hammer swings. He lands some very serious hits on the Hulk. And when it seemingly, I keep saying seemingly, when it looks like he's going to lose, he's able to call upon the Odin Force, something we've never seen before. Without Mjolnir in his hand, he's able to call upon the thunder. He's able to bring the thunder and lands a blow on the Hulk that basically floors him. And before he's able to win this contest of champions, well, the Grandmaster can't have people beating his champion.
Grandmaster Goldblum.
Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum, who's been hilarious at this point, presses a little button. The obedience disc on Thor electrocutes him, and
he's out.
Hulk goes for the final shot, the death nail, and it's not pretty. And not only that, but the reaction on everyone's face, they've seen this before.
Yeah.
The Hulk.
Oh, here we go. We're going home.
Hulk has won. Yes, Hulk has won many a fight with this move. A move in which he just jumps as high as he can and punches straight down.
Another day, another Doug.
Yeah, that's all he does. Yeah, he's just another Doug. And Hulk just takes it to Thor and wins the contest of champions. How did you like this fight? I mean, in the same way of the Hulkbuster Hulk fight, they have to kind of orchestrate these moments, like create these moments so that we can get these fights. Do you think this felt forced? Do you think that did you like the action in it?
I thought it was booked to perfection. You know what I mean?
Were you going for somebody in particular?
Was going. It hurt to go for anybody in this one, actually.
It's your friends, right?
Yeah,
your friends from work.
And then to see Thor actually start, buzzing. I like to say.
It was really cool. It was really cool to see him because up until this point, and for a very good reason, he has been identified with that hammer, right? Like that's all we know, like that he does. So to see him fight without it,
and here comes the thunder.
And then to have the Odin Force, to have that thunder, really got to show us another level of him. I just wish he would have won the fight.
He got the win. It was a moral win. We'll take it.
But Thor awakens in Hulk's room, where the
bachelor pad,
where the bachelor pad stays. Hulk is a celebrated member of this society. Champion. He is the champion. Everyone loves him. There's Hulk T-shirts, there's Hulk merchandise, there's Hulk signs, and Hulk puppets. And we find out that Hulk has been this way for 2 years. So we saw him sadly get in a Quinjet and leave in Avengers, and for those 2 years he's been there. He's been this entire 2 years in which Thor's been looking for these Infinity Stones. He's been a slave. He's been a gladiator. He's been fighting for the Grandmasters, purely for the Grandmasters.
And we can assume Quinjets can go into space.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about. We'll get to that. But there's an entire thing about that. My gosh. Now, they decide after talking to Valkyrie, and Valkyrie we find out is a Valkyrie. She's called Valkyrie because she is a Valkyrie. Valkyrie being the almost like the secret service of the Asgardian army, and Valkyrie stopped being a Valkyrie the day that she tried to fight Hela, and Hela killed all her fellow Valkyrie members. And so she's been on here on Sakaar working for the Grandmaster ever since, just drinking her days away and selling people to the highest bidder. And eventually she comes to and realizes that she should be helping Asgard. She is an Asgardian, that she should be helping the sons of Asgard get home, and that they should be helping to fend off against Ragnarok and against Hela. I thought it was cool that instead of doing like a whole exposition thing, Loki just like taps her,
right,
and we see like a really cool stylized slow motion version of her flashbacks of this big moment with Hela. I thought that was really, really cool. But also something we didn't get to see. The guys find the Quinjet, and when they do, well, Thor finds the Quinjet in a hilarious fashion because he's trying to get it to turn on, and he's like, strongest Avenger, access denied. Strongest Avenger, access denied. Point Break, access granted. Tony Stark keeping that Point Break joke from Avengers 1. Thor finds the Quinjet. He's like, oh yeah, got the Quinjet, gonna go home. But then Hulk shows up, and Hulk, trying to get Thor to stay, is destroying the Quinjet. Accidentally hits a button. Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, shows up, and she starts talking to Bruce Banner, and seeing his love again is enough to get Bruce Banner, the Hulk, to revert back to Bruce Banner for the first time in 2 years. For 2 years, he's been a thoughtless rage machine, and now he's finally back to being Bruce Banner, just from a couple words of Natasha. I guess 2 questions there I have for you. One, what do you do if you've been a Hulk for 2 years and all of a sudden you're a regular man?
I didn't think. Well, you forget because you see the trailer before the movie comes out and stuff like that. So like I went, like when I seen that whole thing, I was like, damn, he's really not gonna be Bruce anymore. But then obviously the trailer popped into my head, and then I started to wonder how they were gonna do that.
How they were gonna get back to Bruce. Do you think that's enough of Black Widow?
It was a nice little accident to happen, so it was cool.
They have to play this off in Avengers, right? This would be the only. This is Avengers. Infinity War is the only place they can. It hasn't been touched on since it happened. And then they haven't been together since then. So hopefully there's a nice little reunion for Black Widow and Hulk. But yeah. I just thought about one of those guys dying. So, I just had a moment.
Wow, you had a wave wash over you.
Yeah, because I can see Thor flipping.
Yeah.
I mean, not Thor, Hulk flipping out.
Yeah, I can see.
And Black Widow is just a human. It's just a human. Look, I mean, Thanos could blow on her hard.
Protect your boo, Bruce. Protect your boo.
Oh my God, gotta protect the boo. Yeah, like I said, Grandmaster tried to get Loki and Valkyrie to find them, but Loki and Valkyrie end up helping Thor and Hulk. They all are trying to find a ship, means to get
through the devil's anus.
Yes, they have to get through the devil's anus, which is the biggest wormhole on Sakaar. They come up with a plan, a series of plans, including what is it? Help? What is it? Is it please help?
Yes, please help.
Please help.
Please help. He's hurt.
I don't want to do please help.
Please help.
We
love please help,
which is a situation in which Thor Loki pretends he's sick. Thor pretends to be looking for help for him, and when somebody turns to try to help them, he grabs Loki and throws them as hard as he can at people. I thought that was pretty funny too. And then in a moment very much like Loki goes to betray Thor. And Thor for the first time in this trilogy, is able to catch it before it happens, and that made me smile.
Justice, yeah, me too.
It made me smile, but there's a very
right that I saw it coming.
When you pair that moment with the moment in the elevator, there's a very bittersweetness to their brotherhood, where he says like, "I love you, but to love you is to understand that you're always gonna be this way." That's big, right? How many members of your family do you have to just kind of let go because they're just going to be that member, and you love him.
Right.
You'll spend the holidays with him, but you always gotta look up, behind your back because you know what, man, you always gonna be you, aren't you? You really are gonna be you. So to love you is to understand you, and I thought that was extremely deep, and that was even before the betrayal, and then you get the betrayal, and it's like he was
Like,
telling you about
yeah, like we
yourself
just,
before you even happened,
like we saw it, but
and then you
damn,
proved him right,
man,
and then you
yeah.
proved him right. But anyway, Thor, Banner, and Valkyrie are able to escape through the wormhole. There's a cool firefight, like all these Space Marvel things where the Grandmaster is trying to stop her from coming. And basically, we were able to get out of Sakaar and finally to Asgard.
The devil's anus.
And we're finally here on Asgard to face off against Hela and her army. This entire time, Hela's been trying to get the Bifrost sword from Heimdall. Cannot find Heimdall. The same way we couldn't find Heimdall in the beginning of this film, because it turns out that Heimdall, having the all sight, or whatever sight that he has, that he's able to see everything, was able to get some Asgardian refugees together and try to flee. But the person that's standing right in their way is Hela, the mistress goddess of death, and she is able to try to put a stop to them before the heroes arrive, before Thor arrives and is able to take it to his sister hand to hand. Thor finds out the entirety.
These thunder hands.
Thor finds out the entirety of what Odin has done in his kinghood, and that speaks to what happened in Black Panther. It's hard to be a good man and be a king. The decisions that you have to make when in that position of power are not easy sometimes, and sometimes you got to shake some unnecessary hands or the wrong hands or whatever, or bloody hands to get the job done, and that's something that Thor finds out. But just because his father does it doesn't necessarily mean he has to, in the same way that just because T'Chaka led Wakanda the way he did, T'Challa doesn't have to. So it's about the sense of the father not falling on the children. But in reality, you have Thor there fighting Hela for the throne. Odin's gone.
Oh my God.
Odin's gone. And while Hela threatens to bring about Ragnarok, this is the only home that Thor's ever known. Thor is fighting to gain his father's throne back, to become the king of Asgard, to send his sister away and save everyone. But it's not looking good, because Hela is able to, in the midst of battle, cost Thor his eye. I gotta ask you, we gotta sit on this for a minute. How do you feel about that? I had no idea this was coming.
Nah, and in the trailer you see he's got both of his eyes, so that was a nice. I really like those swerves.
Yeah, and not only that, but they may not know on this podcast, but I saw that leaked Infinity War trailer, and even in the leaked Infinity War trailer, he didn't have an eye patch.
Oh,
and
he didn't.
He didn't.
Oh,
he had he had both eyes, and they were fine, absolutely fine. And so when that happened there, I was like, what? Wait, what? And the way they do it is just a strike, and when he turns to the camera, eyes gone.
Like Papa Odin.
His eyes gone, but
Sir Odin.
While that's going on, Heimdall's still on the bridge trying to save it from that big old dog that Hela has brought. It's some sort of a beast called Fenris.
Mm-hmm.
Giant wolf. Fenris is there on the bridge, seemingly ready to attack a whole group of vulnerable Asgardians, before Bruce Banner turns to Valkyrie and says, "You want to see who I am? You want to know why they call me the champion? You want to, he's let me tell you something, brother.
You want to see?
Ready.
You want to see why you think you know me?
Oh my God, I can literally use this. He was hulking up.
Wow.
While he was hulking up and getting ready, he jumps out of the Quinjet. Getting ready, because this is reminiscent again, a callback. This is a callback to Incredible Hulk
when he
jumps out the plane, lands in the concrete, and rises as the Hulk. So he jumps out the plane.
I was so ready for that.
Oh my God, a tomato smashes on the bridge, and the way they animate his body,
it's
just
like a fish
tossed to the side. Oh my God, he should have been dead. I have to kind of figure out why he does not die, but he's able to transform into the Hulk, grab Fenris by his tail, and we get to see these two beasts go at it. So you have brother and sister going at it. You have man and beast going at it. And then the most unlikely of saviors arrives, complete with ships to carry all the Asgardians. Loki, and he doesn't arrive by himself. He arrives with his crown. He has his crown. He is ready. as almost the king of Asgard, and right there on the bridge, complete with the gladiators from Sakaar, the Asgardian rebels, the Hela's army, the Revengers. Everybody is just going at it. It's a complete all-out war for Asgard, for the soul of Asgard. How did you feel about that? How did you feel about the action that was displayed there?
Everybody throwing the hands. You see, I wanted more. I wanted more Korg. I mean, Korg. I wanted more. Hey, man.
He definitely wanted that could do a one shot on, like one of those Marvel one shots. You know how they have those little 5-minute movies or whatever.
In the contest of champions, Korg. Hey, man.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, people are there are consequences. Thor loses an eye and whatever, and right when it seems like Hela's gonna get ready for the killing blow, she has to taunt them, bro. Everybody, right? You're a villain, you gotta taunt the hero, and she basically asks a question she probably should never ask. What are you the god of again?
Let me remind you, woman.
You know, and in a moment, in a very sweet moment, in a moment very reminiscent of Black Panther. Now, don't get it twisted. This movie came out before Black Panther, but he gets to share a moment with his dead father one more time. His father is able to impart him with a piece of advice that he wouldn't be able to if they didn't have this strong connection. And the advice is that you are not the god of hammers. You were never. The hammer was only ever a conduit. It was only ever a tool to focus the energy that you've always had, to focus the power, the Odin power, the Odin force that you've always had. And through that moment, you can feel the electricity surge through Thor as he blasts his way and his sister away. And we get another shot from the trailer where he's just standing. Yeah, you know. Oh, that's immigrant song blaring in the background, and then Thor, in a scene that it's just like the scene in the beginning. It's just now going through people. He starts off with him in slow motion. And he jumps onto the bridge, and he's covered in lightning, and he's hitting people, and a hammer shot. Oh, he don't have his hammer; it's his fist. It's his fist and forearms.
We're getting too excited. But you see him freaking hit
just haymakers and punches because he has no weapons. His kicks, it's 300 style kicks to the chest. This is Asgard.
He's throwing thunder. You see the thunder hit the dude, and then the thunder hits the dude and goes through him and hits the other dudes.
And then he pulls the Devon Dudley, the spin, the corkscrew through everybody. And at this point, I think that the director and everybody just realized that we are now in the this is all just cool stuff moment, because now you have Valkyrie with her hair out in slow motion and fireworks from the Grandmaster's orgy ship, and you got Hulk grabbing a full huge wolf by the mouth to stop him from being swallowed, and Thor just making puppets out of Hela's army.
Tunda.
Like you as comic book as it gets, just these splash pages of action and light and color and amazing.
Double T, my man, double T.
But Odin not only told Thor that, you know, he always had the power, but he kind of told him that the only way to stop Hela is to bring Ragnarok. Yes. The only way to stop Hela from destroying the whole world is to kill Asgard, which is like the exact opposite of everything Thor's ever known.
Trying to do in the beginning of the movie, you know.
But he can see it. He can see the innocent people being slaughtered. He can see that they're losing this war, and he's already lost his eye. Things are not going well, and he ends up making the decision, ends up making the choice. He tells Loki, I need you to throw Surtur's crown into the eternal flame. Call back from the beginning of the film, we found out that it was prophesied that once this happens, Ragnarok will happen to Asgard. Loki does so, not before stopping.
I was just about taking a peek.
Just looking at an Infinity Stone, the same Infinity Stone that was in his possession in Avengers. Loki looks at the Space Stone, which we now know he has, right? He takes that Space Stone.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Puts it in his pocket. Puts the Eternal Flame. He puts the Eternal Flame in the... No, he doesn't put the Eternal... He puts Surtur's crown in the Eternal Flame, and Surtur is reborn and is able to destroy Asgard. and kind of destroy Hela. We're not 100% sure if he kills Hela, but it seemingly takes out the goddess of death.
Surtur.
And Surtur is not playing around. I mean, Surtur had always said that he was here
I
to
was glad
bring about.
they had him come back. I was excited for that. I was like, yeah, let's bring Surtur back. Take care of this woman.
And Hela doesn't
Nice,
even kind of
nice workaround.
And he goes to the sides of a mountain, which is what he said he was going to
Yep.
do. And he's
And
just
then
taking
he
out
buries
Asgard.
his sword and deep into Asgard.
He does. And he buries his sword into Asgard and seemingly into Hela.
Yes.
Now, gun to the head. Is Hela dead?
Yes.
Gone?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, man, Surtur.
I'll say no.
Hold it down. Oh,
I'll
come
say no.
on.
Only because of the Infinity War stuff. I think she might show up for Thanos.
Surtur all the way, man.
the uncrowned king, huh? Yeah, so Hela's dead, or seemingly dead, because I love saying seemingly. Is dead. Surtur has happened. Ragnarok has come. Thor has had to destroy his home to save the 9 realms. If protecting the 9 realms is what the King of Asgard is supposed to do, then he kind of did what the King of Asgard is supposed to do. Problem: there's no Asgard,
and we can't see all the 9 realms now.
Yes.
So
there's no Asgard, and no one can see what the heck is going on.
Visit all of them now.
Yes, by ship. They only have like 2 ships. So it's going to be interesting. Thor, was hesitant about destroying Asgard, but Odin tells him Asgard is not a place; it's a people, and as long as you have the people, Asgard will continue. This seemingly sets up for a number of things. You want to get into that now? There's a comic book storyline in which Asgard is completely destroyed and needs to then take a new refuge, a new home on Earth.
In the United States.
In the United States. Do you think that this is drawing to that? Do you think there's any way that might come about?
I mean, where are they going to go? China?
True. There is no Asgard right now. But they already know where they want to go. They want to go to Terra. They want to go to Earth.
Earth. Midgard.
They want to get to Earth.
Earth.
And so, with Earth, we already know what's next thing to happen on Earth. It is the Infinity War. Mm-hmm. Is there any strings you think you can connect from the end of this movie to there?
I think it's gonna be. Whoa. I think it's gonna be. Well, we have the war coming, so one thing I am looking forward to is Wakanda and Asgard holding it.
If the Asgardians can get some vibranium weapons,
that's gonna be crazy. Dude.
Yeah, you just gave me that. Now if I don't see it, I'll be very
crazy, dude. Matter of fact, take them to Wakanda.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, that's it. Arm them up, get some vibranium outfits on, and we good. The Asgardians and the Wakandans, because I ain't see one black Asgardian besides Heimdall, and I ain't see one white.
Wow, nobody want to give it up to him. The ladies don't like Heimdall. Wow. It's all right, Heimdall. Come to Wakanda.
Bucky's the only white Wakandan.
Yep, White Wolf.
The White Wolf. Hulk Hulk is found in the Sanctum Sanctorum in the trailer, and we've already prophesized that.
I feel Thanos has backsmacked him into Earth.
Because one of the post-credit scenes is Thor talking to Loki about being king and all this other kind of stuff, and Loki a little bit hesitant about going down to Earth.
Again.
Because the last time he was there, he caused some serious stuff. Do you think Loki gets to Earth?
Yeah, but I think Thor gets there first.
Okay.
I think because he might kick it with Thanos.
Who might kick it with
Loki?
Thanos? Loki?
Yeah.
You think he's gonna play both sides for a little bit?
I don't know. Maybe he gets
see Loki dying. Like first 10 minutes.
I'm not ready for my guys that I've been with long term. I'm not ready for any of that, man.
Right.
I'm not ready for any.
We'll do death predictions on a different day.
That's not. You do the episode by yourself.
But they do see a ship that does look like it's Thanos' ship. Does look like it's a big dog on campus. And anything can happen. They could just blast them from there and have everybody die. There is a scene from the trailer that looks like it's Loki on a knee presenting the space stone. That could be it. Maybe Thanos recognizes the aura of the space stone and realizes it's on this ship with the Asgardians, and Loki says, "I'll give you this if you don't hurt anybody."
I hope this is a 5-hour movie.
Oh, it's gonna have to be. Infinity War is gonna have to be. But yeah, the movie ends with Thor no home a king of a people with no home,
Mm-hmm.
but the Asgardians need somewhere to go, and it seems like they're going to Earth, and I can't wait to see them get there.
With
But
Korg.
how do you feel about this
With
movie?
Korg, man.
Especially sitting here and breaking it down. How do you feel?
I think, well, to me anyway, the best of the three, bigger, brighter, more action, more funny, bigger all around. Everything just pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth decided to take this route because he felt like his other movies were underperforming. The other Thors were underperforming, that they weren't people's favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to take Kevin Smith's advice and make them a little bit more funny. Some people were having some serious issues with that because they go to Thor for the more serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And felt like this was almost too Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean,
I can see the criticism. I don't share the criticism, but I can see the criticism.
I think this would be like, well, personally, I feel this would be like one of his last hurrahs as being funny because
not only that,
at this point he's already gone through a lot. His dad is dead.
Yeah.
He's lost his eye. Asgard is destroyed.
He killed his sister, seemingly,
and he's king now, so he's gonna have to, chest out, be more serious king.
And we even see, because, apparently after the fourth film, Thor, his contract's up. Chris Hemsworth's contract's up. So I'm saying, so we might not even have another Thor to do, but who knows? We already got greenlit for Black Panther 2. We've been greenlit for Guardians 3. Greenlit for Homecoming 2. So there's a lot of stuff coming down.
Take me there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down as far as Thor is concerned. But the next stop is going to be Infinity War. I cannot wait. I had a blast reviewing this film. It was incredibly funny. I wish we could have included more of the jokes, but you kind of got to see it to know what it's like. And if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, what the heck are you doing? We've been going spoilers all crazy willy-nilly. But if you like this, if you like these breakdowns that we do breakdowns of this and more. As part of Comicbook Clique, Major Issues, the podcast, is brought to you by Comicbook Clique, which deals with some of the latest and greatest to do with, I used to have this. Let's try this one more time. Comicbook Clique
it's a lot.
Deals with all the latest and greatest things to deal with comics and comic book media. That's reviews, that's, memes. We got a bunch of memes on there. You got to check
memes,
that out.
Man.
We're doing podcasts. We're doing research. We're trying to put our fingers in all the pies, all the comic book pies that are out there. So if you want to go ahead and follow the things that we do here at Comic Book Clique and as a part of Major Issues, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/comicbookclique, Instagram at comicbookclique, and use the hashtag comicbookclique to talk about all the newest, hottest, and greatest and latest things to come to comic books and comic book media. And then don't forget that if you like Major Issues, if you don't want to do all that stuff and you just like this podcast, then go ahead and rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, because we're available on Stitcher, Podbean, Podcast Addict, like I said, iTunes, wherever podcasts are found. You type in Major Issues Podcast in Google, and I guarantee you we're the first ones to pop up because we're here and we're here to stay. I've been to the future. We've become the greatest thing since sliced bread, but we need you guys to help us get there. And I'm excited to say this is one of the first times we've been able to do this, but we're able to now kind of give a little bit of a tease to the next episode. The next episode of the Major Issues podcast will be a spoilerific review of season 2 of Jessica Jones. You heard it here, folks. Once you hear this podcast, you have a week to try to get as many of those Jessica Jones episodes in as you can. The series drops on the 8th of March, and on the 14th, 6 days later, we'll have a full full spoiler-filled review. We will have not gotten any sleep. We have seen all the episodes, and we'll be sitting here talking about that. What I need you guys to do, I need you guys to go to comicbookclique@gmail.com and send all your feedback for the show. If you're watching episodes and you have questions or you like moments, send your feedback. I want to hear what you guys are feeling when these episodes are going on, so that when we are here, we can give you guys a voice. This is the first time we'll be doing this. This is the first time we'll be ingesting an entire entire show, and I want to see how that goes. So please join us for the journey. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a hella ride, hella of a ride. Get a hella, goddess of death, all that other kind of stuff. It's gonna be great. So catch us next week for the Jessica Jones review. My name is George Serrano, aka the Don, and this has been the Thor Ragnarok review as part of the Major Issues podcast, brought to you by Comicbook Clique.
Who I am, Cloud is Maximus, son of Cloud.
I like that. This has been another brilliant episode of the Major Issues podcast. And remember, whether you are a demon, an Asgardian, whether you're from Sakaar or a Grand Master himself, whether you're a disgraced Valkyrie or the God of Mischief or the Lord of Hammers, you, yes, you are worthy.